All right, good morning. Welcome back to Saturday Morning Qigong with the Alexandria Museum of Art and the Levy Tai Chi School. I am, of course, Lao Shi Paul Nettles, and as you may have noticed, I'm about 18 minutes late into this morning. My sincere apologies for that. Nothing's been canceled. I promise you the Saturday morning Qigong classes at the museum will remain intact if I can be here on time, which isn't usually a problem, but sometimes happens. But we are continuing as always. I will say this, I have a sinus infection going, so I sound like a very cut-rate Barry White. Don't let that bother you. I may try to do a minimum of talking today. It's kind of aggravating, and of course my throat's a little rough, but life goes on. And our little thought for this morning is obviously going to be one about speed. I've got some beginners here in front of me, and of course a regular. And I have done this enough times that I know for a fact that having realized I'm late and come tearing across the bridge from Pineville to here and trying to get set up and try to get things done in a timely manner, that my adrenaline is up quite a bit. I mean that need to hurry up and get there, hurry up and do the thing, get the stuff set up, get back on track, get back in that schedule, get back in that rut. So my focus personally today is going to be simply making myself move at the pace I need to, not the pace I want to. Very big difference there. What I want to do is move quickly. My adrenaline wants to stay up, and my body wants to keep pushing me forward as fast as it can to get back on some imaginary schedule. And I don't need to do that. What I need to do today is to focus on my usual pace, which is calm and slow and rhythmic, and to set a good example for my new students here. Which we'll be trying to do ourselves. We're always going to try that today. Huh, Patty, you're going to help me with that.
Right.
Set a good example.
I got you.
Yeah, you always set a good example. Always. So, today's class, because I have beginners, will be a little more beginner-oriented. We're going to do all the chatting about breathing and movement and so forth. So if you're a bit on the fence, if you happen to pop through here and you see me talking on Facebook and you're curious, this is going to be a beginner class, a beginner Qigong class. This is the 8 silken changes form. It's 8 postures, 8 times each. Very simple stuff. We're going to move slowly, we're going to breathe deeply, and I'm going to give you all the prompts through it. So if you're beginning, this is a good time to be here. Also, if you've been here for a while, don't ever let yourself forget that going back to foundation stuff, back to your basics, can be very, very positive. That can be a big deal. You can pick up things you may have forgotten, things you may have overlooked, things you may have missed because you weren't there one day, or things in your practice that have simply slipped. That happens too. They call it training drift. When you have a form, when you practice and practice, errors can creep in, and they can continue and multiply and get bigger and bigger. So as we go through this, if you're at this for years, like Patty over there, listen. Be sure, check your form. You might miss something. You might catch something that's important. You may not, but it's never a harm to go back to your foundation work. So I'm going to step back a little bit and we'll start talking about how we do this thing. So, Qigong, simple stuff. We're going to breathe deep in through our nose, out through our mouth, nice and soft. If you hear yourself, you're going a little too hard. You should be very, very soft and relaxed. We're going to time the breathing to our movements. I'm going to show you how to do all that for every posture. Very simple stuff. There's 8 postures. We do 8 times each. Some are 2-sided, some are 1-sided. And I'll try to mirror for you. Since we haven't got a mirror behind me, I'll try to mirror the movement so in case you get off track, you can see where I'm going. It should be where you're going. The important thing is, I was telling the video there, the important thing is to relax. How you stand down, just nice and comfortable, shoulders down, there you go. That's exactly just nice and comfortable. If you find yourself in the form getting stressed or strained, let go of it. And it takes practice. I promise it takes practice. And being a beginner in something is always kind of a nervy thing. Don't worry about that. Well, Patty's pretty judgy, but I'm not pretty judgy. I don't judge too much. And you can tell we're not very militant. We're not by the book. This is a very relaxed class. The basic idea, as we go through the postures, we go through the movements, as we breathe, let your mind focus on your breath. And that's just like any meditation you've ever done, like any yoga you've ever done, any Tai Chi you've ever done. It's the same basic thing. We're focusing on our breath Well, our body does something to keep us a little busy. And as a beginner, it's very nice as a beginner because you're worried about how you move. So you tend to stay focused inside anyway. As you develop into this, and you start getting used to the movements, and the movements become muscle memory, the work begins then, because your mind wants to wander off. Now, your mind's going to wander off, and that's cool. That's perfectly fine. That's what your mind does, especially when you're not practiced. So when your mind wanders off, be compassionate with yourself. It can be tough for some people. Don't beat yourself up. Don't tell yourself you're doing something wrong. It's just what happens, especially at first. So when your mind wanders off, just bring it back, and bring it back again, and bring it back again, and do it over and over and over again. That's how we practice. So, first posture is called the sow. It's not really a movement itself. It's kind of a beginning and ending movement, and we do it between each set of movements as a sort of palate cleanser. It's very simple. I will say this. Part of the movement is very, very long. And we're trying to time our breath so that we're full and empty in our lungs as the movements begin and end. You probably won't be able to do it the first time around. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I always tell people, if you can't do it in one breath, because we're going to come from way down here, we're going to come all the way up and breathe in and breathe in and breathe in and breathe in and breathe in. If you can't do it in one breath, it's no big deal. It really isn't. Do it in 2 breaths. Do it in 3 breaths. Whatever it takes. As long as you're going slow. You don't want to go, never gonna make it. Breathe slow. So if you get it, you breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in again, you breathe out, you start to breathe in, and I'm saying, okay, you should be lungs full, and you're not quite full. It really is okay. The important thing is that slow, rhythmic breath and slow movement. So, to do this, we'll stand feet together, just comfortably. We'll take just standing here, we'll take one nice big lungful. We're going to breathe all the way in and breathe all the way out. So, nice big lungful of air. We're going to breathe out and bend just our knees so we sink down just to your comfort level. You don't have to get too deep. Take your hands, palm up, little clap. We're going to breathe in. We're going to fill your lungs all the way up. Let your head go back. You want to end right there. Lungs full, nice tall stretch. Roll your hands over and then breathe out and just come straight down. Nice and slow. Let your head come forward. Keep breathing out. Or take that second breath. Your hands relax. That's it. That's the sow. Simple as that. Easy stuff. Now, I'll say it real quick. I've had yoga people in here. I've had Tai Chi people in here, and all kind of different people in here that bring their own thing to cheat on. So I'll say this. I practice this way. I come down, and my hands come to rest, palms backwards. That's Tai Chi training. My yoga people will come in here and they'll breathe out, and they'll do kind of an open palm thing, which is very cool. If that's natural to you, then do that. Feels good? Go ahead. This is not a super structured thing. We have 8 postures, do 8 times each. The movements themselves are secondary to the breathing. The breathing is primary. All right, so first posture, we're going to a shoulder width stance, so just one little simple step out. We'll get center in the camera again here. There we go. If y'all see me moving strange, I'm just getting back in the camera is all. So, shoulder width again, shoulders relaxed, hands are soft, everything's comfortable, there you go. And I will say this too, if you get through the posture and you start kind of feeling that tension release and you want to kind of roll your neck, go ahead. This is about letting that tension go. You don't want to hang on to it. So if that kind of stops you from moving, then do it. And catch up with us again. So first posture is called lifting the heavens. All we're going to do is start at arm's length, palms cupped. We're going to breathe in, try to get our lungs full right there as we lift. So we're going to breathe in, nice and slow. And right there, about your collarbone height, you're going to roll your hands over, let your head go back, and breathe out. Go all the way up. Give yourself a good stretch. Roll your palms over. Breathe in. Let your head come forward. And then breathe out. You want to empty just as you get down to below your waist there, right there. Roll your hands. We're going to do it again. Breathe in. Lungs are about full. Roll your hands. Breathe out. Breathe in. And out. We're going to do 8 of these. Nice, easy pace. Just roll your hands. Breathe in. And out. Let your lungs empty all the way out. Give yourself a good tall stretch. Breathe in. And out. Let's keep going. Breathe in. Breathe in. Out. As you get to the bottom, let your hands come to rest. I don't want to rush John. Step back to our center. Step feet are together. Relaxed. One more south. So, standing straight, knees bent, deep breath. I'm going to breathe out, empty, just as you get down to your comfort spot, down to about as low as you can get comfortably. Clap. Breathe in. And out. All right. So, I'm going to pick on John briefly. I know John has a good, strong sense of self. This won't bother him. John has his own pace. John was a lot slower than I was. And that is perfectly fine. I promise you. The concern is when you're outrunning me. If you're just tearing through it, then you need to slow down a little bit. If you get 7 movements out of my 8, that's fine. There's no set requirement to do it 8 times. The requirement is that you move slowly, as John's been doing, and breathe deeply. So, it is unusual to find someone like John who is not in a hurry to get through this. Especially
in a hurry to get through anything. My wife calls me a lollygagger.
Hey, that's a good place to be. I promise you. In the Western society is everything fast forward, get it done, go on the next thing, live 5 steps ahead of yourself. So to ease through the form is wonderful. That's a very good place to be. So that was hence my pause, waiting for John. I didn't want to stop John midway through his movement there and have him jump into the south. So like I say, if you're going too fast, that's cause for alarm. If you're just tearing through it and you're way ahead of us, moving too slow is not a problem. It's never a problem. So for you at home in the video, you may actually see me pausing a moment after the postures, which I wouldn't ordinarily do, to let John finish up if he's off pace a little bit. All right, so next posture. Wise owl gazes backwards. And I always warn people, this is a back stretcher. It's going to get all your joints, but mainly your back. So if you've got back problems, like some of us do, we're going to move very slowly. We're not going to get in a rush. But as I say in the sow, we're going to our comfort level, no further. You're not trying to push yourself into pain, not trying to overly stretch anything. So you know what gives you issues when you bend or twist or whatever you do. I know what causes me problems. So as we twist the postures, just watch for those warning signs. Watch where you know you can go and no further, and stop there. And if you feel like you can't do it, then you can just stand and breathe with us. It's not going to hurt anything. I've had people who can't do it because they've had spinal fusion or something. That's okay. Do what you can to your comfort level and stop there. That's all you got to do. So, back to our shoulder width. Nice and comfortable. Put our hands behind our back. Loosely, no fists. Nice and loose, just to kind of hold there. Now, as I said before, I'm going to mirror you, so if I say right, I mean you're right, not mine. Keep you on track. It's a very simple posture, though. What we're going to do, importantly, is keep our feet flat. We're going to be twisting. So when we twist, our body wants to kind of shortcut that and get you further around, so it'll roll that foot up, so you get way around. Make sure your feet stay flat. That's the only part you won't move. Everything else, ankles, knees, waist, the torso, especially shoulders, neck, let all of it turn very gently around, and we'll come back, and then around, and we'll come back. It's as simple as that. Now this is one for us in this one. We have a cycle we'll do. I'll keep count for you. All right, you worry about breathing, staying focused. Now I will say this too, when you get twisted around like this, of course your lungs are going, your ribs are going to kind of compress in your lungs. It'll be harder to breathe in, a little more resistance. Keep trying to keep that breath smooth. When I was a beginner, I'd always twist around and I'd stop breathing. Hold my breath, and push it out and come back. Don't hold your breath. Let it flow naturally, let it go as far as you can comfortably and come back. So,
You never told me that.
you should listen. Don't hold your breath, Patty. Never hold your breath. All right. So we will begin to our right. So hands are comfortable. Feet are planted and rooted. We're going to breathe in. Twist around gently. Again, just to your comfort level. And then breathe out. And come back to your center. Then to your left. Breathe in. And out. Just as easy as that. Breathe in. Out. In. center. Hands down comfortably. Feet together. One more sound. Deep, full breath. Sink. Hold your torso straight. Let your knees just drop you down. Breathe in. And out. I think I would enjoy teaching John Tai Chi. I would enjoy teaching John Tai Chi.
I would enjoy having you teach me.
One of the interesting things as a teacher, when you get into Qigong, especially with Tai Chi as well, is everyone starts off fast. Everyone's got to go and go and go. And so I spend my first month just kind of slowing people down. And he comes prefixed. I like that. He's already prepared.
And they thought of you that way, John.
Isn't that marvelous? He's the calmest soul I've ever met. I love it. All right, so next posture. Draw, bow, shoot, tiger. Now this one's a complex one. I'm actually going to turn. Ordinarily I would have Georgia, my senior Tai Chi student here, and she would stand in front of us and do it one way, and I would turn the other way so you can see both sides. This is a more complex posture. I'm going to go very slow through it. You may be off a bit at first. It's okay. It really is no big deal. Like I say, the important thing here is the breath. Everything else is secondary. So, draw, bow, shoot, tiger. For one thing, we're going to change our stance. We're going to do what's called a horse stance. If you've ever done any kind of martial arts, you know a horse stance is a great big wide thing. So what we do, we shift to our right, we step out shoulder width, put our foot down, we're going to shift way over on that side, and step out shoulder width again. That gives you a nice wide stance. Like you're riding a horse. Very simple stuff. Now, this is the part I tell everybody, you don't have to make this physical. This is not PE. This is an Eastern style meditation. It is not required that you sweat. Not required that you do this down low. If you want to, you can. You don't have to. It's not part of the mindfulness. The physical is entirely a tertiary effect. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to turn around just a second here, but we're going to start from our horse stance with our forearms tucked in, just in our ribs there. Nice loose fist. There's no this in this class. Nice loose fists. Okay? So what we'll do, swing around. We're going to begin our right hand, reach all the way out. Now, we're going to breathe in and circle around 1.5 turn, a full 180 degrees. So we'll start here. You can move your waist if you have to a little bit. Let your spine bend. Breathe in, just circle around. All the way around. So I'm now looking at this drawing down here of this young man. Now, left hand comes up and forward. That loose fist is now holding your bow. So your bowstring is in your right hand. What we're going to do is breathe out. We're going to turn our foot out a little bit, take our knee. We're going to breathe out and draw that string back and push our torso to the right. So we'll breathe out and shift. Nice. So you see my right knee is bent nice and deep. I'm shifted. My torso is really straight. And I'm holding a bow with a string hold. Now, from here, right forearm tucks in. Left hand opens up. We're going to breathe in. Nice big half circle. And mirror image, that same process. So right hand comes up and forward to hold the bow. We're going to breathe out. We're going to tuck our right foot in. Left foot out. Breathe out. And draw the left. You should feel a nice stretch in that tendon inside your thigh. Right there. So nice shake down across our forearm, looking out across our bow, and we're balanced on our left right So, left forearm tucks in, right hand opens, breathe in, we're going to change feet, right foot tucked out, left hand up and forward, breathe out, draw to your right. Nice stretch to your left tendon there. Forearm in. Breathe in. Right up and forward, left back, breathe out. Forearm. Breathe in. Shift feet. Breathe out. Left hand holds the bow. Breathe in. And out. In. And out. In. Out. Let's do 3 more sets. Breathe in. Out. Right hand holds the bow. At this point, let your hands relax. You will step back to your center with 2 steps. You shift over, step, and step. There we go. Hello, John.
Good morning.
All right. Now then, one more sound. Deep breath. Sink. Breathe in. And out. For the benefit of my new folks and those of you at home that may be new at this, you're going to see me yawn a lot. I'm not tired, I promise. My body, I am physiologically geared, I assume, to release tension by yawning. So usually if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know my first few minutes, I'm already yawning. I've done this long enough, my body knows when I start going that this is going to happen. My heart rate's going to slow, my pulse is going to drop, I'm going to have a lot more oxygen, and I'm going to relax. So it's already pre-learned, this is coming. Start relaxing now. That happens with anybody. You all, of course, show relaxation in different manners, but mine is yawning. So I'm not tired, I'm not yawning at you, I promise. I'm just relaxing, that's all it is. All right, we are at Stars Fall to Earth. Stars Fall to Earth will look like touch your toes. And it's not, because I hated touch your toes in grade school. I have very short tendons. My tendons do not stretch worth a darn. This is not about getting your hands on your toes. If you can, if you're limber, that's cool. It's not about being physical. What we're going to do is take a breath down low, one breath all the way up, like lifting the heavens, but one continuous breath. So, obviously, as a new person, you may not be able to do it in one big breath. It's okay. Do it in 2, do it in 3. Do it in slow breaths. Breathe all the way up. We're going to roll forward off our waist. The important thing here is letting our torso relax. When you do touch your toes, you kind of just force yourself down. We're not forcing ourselves down. We're letting gravity pull our arms and our head forward so we can roll into a nice relaxed posture, hanging down. And like this sound, we'll do a little squat, we'll scoop, and then breathe in again. So the important thing, like I said, if it takes 2 breaths, it takes 3 breaths, it's fine. Not a hurt a thing. Okay, just breathe slowly and comfortably and move slowly. All right, so back to our shoulder width. Nice and comfortable. Get back to my camera view here. All right, so we're going to start like lifting the heavens. We're going to start from here. We're going to take 1 breath all the way up, if we can't do 1 breath. So breathe in nice and slow. Lift. Palms roll over, head goes back, come all the way up. Give yourself a good stretch again. Now, very briefly, lock your knees. We're going to bend at the waist as we breathe out. So breathe out and just roll forward. Let your head pull you forward, let your arms pull you forward. Let your spine relax. Okay, now we're going to bend our knees, drop our hips straight down, scoop close to the floor. We're going to breathe in, straighten your knees first, then your back, and just draw up with those breaths in. Again, give yourself a nice tall stretch. Lock your knees briefly and breathe out. Roll forward. Be sure to let your head pull you forward. We have a bad habit of wanting to watch what's going on. Make sure your head is limber and relaxed and hanging down. Bend the knees. Drop the hips. Scoop. Breathe in. Straighten the knees first. In the back. And all the way up. And out. Drop the hips. Scoop. In. And out. We're going to scoop again, drop the hips down, breathe in, straighten nice and slow. This time, when you get vertical, just roll your hands over and breathe out. There we go, just like that. Nice and relaxed. Back to your center. One more sound. Deep breath. things I say a fairly large amount, really often in class, is how I approach this. When I was a young man, I started exploring meditation, all the Eastern mythos and everything, and what you could do with your mind and your body. And I found very quickly that I was terrible at just sitting still. I can't just sit still. I'm not very good at it. I got okay at it, but it's difficult to me to just sit, to do zazen. And years later, I heard about Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist priest who does the meditative walking. His big thing is to walk slowly and meditate. And I thought, my God, that's it. It's as simple as that. A little bit of physical activity, enough to keep the body occupied with a very simple task, and your mind then gets to work on the focusing. And this is just simple meditation. This is just meditation without the orange robes and the temple and the shaved head. This is meditation. We're breathing, we're focusing on our breath. We're just occupying our body a little bit. And there are some side benefits. There's flexibility, there's strength, there's limberness. But that's by the wayside. That's not the important thing. So when I do the postures, you'll see me kind of push a little bit. I tend to be a little more physical. I like that. I like being a little more physical, but it's not required. Okay? This is about the breath, the focus, and bringing your mind back again and again and again and again and again, because you'll do it for a very long time. I promise you. This is, I think, my 9th year of practicing daily some form of meditation, and my mind still wanders. It does. Your mind is made to think. It's going to think. What has changed is how I approach that. Instead of engaging in the thought and running off down some rabbit hole, I just say, oh, it's doing that thing again. And I come back to my breath. And I come back, and I come back, and I come back. And I don't beat myself up over it. That's the important thing. Don't beat yourself up. This is normal. This is normal stuff. Your knees popping is normal. Being short of breath maybe is normal. All this is just, we're just human. We're all starting somewhere. So don't fight yourself, okay? I say all that to say that this next posture, lion wags tail, is very, very physical. Again, you don't need to make it super physical. There's ways around that. So we're going back to our horse stance for one thing. So we'll step out one time, shoulder width, we'll shift over, step out again. Again, don't need to be too wide. You don't need to be super tough with this. Now, there are 2 ways around this posture. There's an easier way, which is actually the original way, and there's a more Western style. You'll see me do the Western style, because again, I like the physicality of it, but ordinarily you would tuck your hands right in the crease of your thigh there. What we'll do is roll our torso forward, and that will help support you as you roll forward. Now, if you want, hands behind your back makes you allow your core more. It's a little more physical. So you see, like when you roll forward, suddenly your core is holding you up, and that's it. So it's a little tougher if you got back problems. There's no shame in this, none, I promise you. I have had many a day, Patty can tell you, many a day where I've done this, my back was bothering me. So either way, behind your back or tucked in, either one's fine. What we're gonna do is turn a foot out. We're gonna breathe in, and we're gonna roll ourselves around vertically. And then come down, and we'll change toes, and come back up this side, and we'll do a great big swing, a pendulum arc, with our torso back and forth, okay? So, just be careful with this one. We're gonna twist a lot. I do wanna say this, when you are arcing through and you come around on the side, for some reason people wanna keep going. They wanna keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. When you get close to vertical, that's all you need. This lends to injury right here when you're trying to push way past your body's normal limits. So when you get vertical, that's all you need. Come back down, swing around, come up this side. All right, let's try it. So first things first, breathe out. Let your torso roll forward like you did in Stars Fall to Earth. Let your head hang down low. We'll start with our left foot turned out just a little bit. Protect that left knee. We're going to breathe in, shift to our left, and draw our torso up very slowly, just to vertical. see our line, as we come to our center. Left toe comes in, right goes out. We're going to breathe in up our right side. And out. Back down the way you came. Nice and controlled. Right toes come in, left goes out. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. Breathe in. Out. In. And out. Let's continue. Breathe in. And out. We're going to end at our center where we started. Head low. Straighten your torso nice and carefully. Hands to your sides. Back to your center. One more sound. Deep breath. About as physical as we get, so we can relax now. That's the most physical of all the postures. That's a beast. All right, next posture is called marry heavens and earth and separate heavens and earth. Now, when I was a kid, first started this, I used to think this was the most ridiculous thing ever. It's a very simple hand movement. That's all we're doing, hands. I kept thinking, why would we possibly do that? All these things, you can see your torso stretching, you can change flexibility or build strength. Why this? What does this do? And it finally occurred to me, I hate to say it, an embarrassingly long distance, it occurred to me that is one of the most mindful postures we do. Because your hands are doing a very simple movement, your mind's gonna wander. There's nothing it's got to worry about. It's not worried about, am my feet turned out right? Am I in the right stance? Am I low enough? Am I doing it? It's gonna wander. So this is our opportunity to really work on mindfulness. Every time your mind wanders off and worries about, I gotta feed the dog, I gotta get groceries today, I'm out of cottage cheese, you're gonna wander off. Just bring your mind back very gently, again and again, until it becomes second nature, becomes habit, becomes normalized. So, all that that being said, back to our shoulder width. Now, left hand up our collarbones, palm down. Right hand cupped at full extension. There we go. The obvious metaphor, heavens and earth. We're going to marry the earth to the heavens. The heavens are going to stay here for a moment. We're going to breathe in and lift the earth up. Lungs are full right there. We're going to roll this palm over. And we're going to separate the two with a breath out. Easy as that. Now give yourself a good straight stretch. Don't roll over. Stay good and straight. Palms together. We're going to marry heavens and earth with a breath in. Turn palm rolls. Breathe out. It's as simple as that. Palms together. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. And out. In. Out. In. And out. Let's continue. Close. We're going to breathe in, marry heavens and earth. And as your palm is turned up, just rolls over, and breathe out. Nice, easy close. All right, back to your center. One more south. Two. What we have done thus far, excuse me, is a warm-up. Our first two postures are warm-ups. Get us moving, get our muscles a little limber. The next four, a little more physical. Got starts really deep into the mindfulness side of this thing, into the thinking and breathing and holding the breath deeply. These last two postures are going to take the energy we've cultivated in those first 6 postures and tell our body, now's the time. We're going to start using it now. What we have built, though, is not what I came in here with, that adrenaline-fueled, gotta go, and then crash energy. We've been telling our body for the last 40 minutes or so, I need to be able to move for a long time. Not real fast, not real aggressively, nothing super physical, but I need some energy. Start building some energy up, some long-term energy, some slow burn energy. These last 2 postures trigger that. They're a little more aggressive, a little more active. We're going to temper the adrenaline we build with some slow movement. What you'll find is about 5 hours of energy that don't come from a little bottle, they don't come with a crash. It's a long-term slow burn. So I tell people, don't do this at night. This is not a nighttime thing. You will not sleep. You'll lay there and go, well, that was dumb. I want to do something. I want to walk in the house. I want to read a book. This is a morning thing, a noon thing maybe. Don't do it at night. Because it will keep you up. It's enough to keep you awake. Not enough to make you want to run around the house. Not to make you want to jog. It's just a little low burn energy. That's what we want. Qigong is Chinese for energy cultivation. We're cultivating energy. We're building this strength up. So, next 2 postures, like I say, a little more active. I will say this being the age of COVID, we're vaccinated, of course, but, and I think we all are double vaccinated at this point, but because there's going to be some very plosive breath, you'll find me kind of looking down and blowing down, and we're at a very good distance from each other, but just in the interest of safety and not blowing, my breath at John or anybody else, I'm going to kind of look down and puff my breath out. What we'll do, this next posture is called Quan Ti sits on throne. This is kind of a punching drill, but not really. So, we'll start with our feet together again. Back to our horse stance. So we'll step out one time. We're going to shift. Step out again. Now, again, you can make this physical. You don't have to. You'll see me get down pretty low. You don't have to. Okay? Forearms tucked in again. And this is vitally important now, loose fist. Because we're punching, we don't want to counteract all that careful energy we built up by doing this and getting all wound up and aggressive. This is not aggressive. What we're going to do, I'm going to talk it to you first, talk you through it first. We'll take a deep breath in. We're going to breathe out and punch forward very, very slowly to our center, just somewhere our center point there. We're going to save a little bit of extension and a little breath, so at the end we can go just a little small expulsion of breath. Working your diaphragm, great big muscle plate in there that works your lungs. We're going to tighten that diaphragm up as if you're coughing. Same basic movement. But notice my throat was tight that second time, so you got that sound. When you do this, you push forward, relax your throat as much as you can, and you let that air just pop out. That's it. And we'll take our fingers, we're going to roll out, it's called a silk reeling hand, and roll back in again with a breath. Very simple. The important thing, relax your throat. If you find yourself going, relax. There you go, Joan. Let your diaphragm work. Just force that air out. All right. Begin to our left. Take a deep breath in. Breathe out. Punch forward nice and slow. And there we go. Fingers up. You're going to roll out. It's called a silk reeling hand. There you go. Breathe in. Draw that hand back. On the right. Breathe out. And there we go. Roll the fingers out. Breathe in. And out. In. And out. diaphragm almost bounce like a trampoline. It's a very short, sharp pop inside.
Actually, makes me walk.
Yeah, it can trigger a cough, definitely. Breathe in. Let your hands come to rest. Back to your center, 2 steps. There we go. One more sound. Be a little tough sometimes with the throat. It's hard to get used to being relaxed. You always get so used to coughing, and it can trigger a cough. I've had, when I taught at the VA, I had a lot of guys with emphysema and COPD, and they start getting the coughing fits. But it can kind of, it's the same exact motion as a cough. That diaphragm tightens very, very tightly, pushes up, and that forces air out, which of course makes you want to cough. So coughing is normal. Don't feel bad about that. It happens. Now, last posture. Stamp the earth. This is even noisier. My regulars know this. And I'm glad you guys aren't embarrassed. That's very nice. Ordinarily, I have a class in the beginners, and we start doing this huffing and breathing like, oh my gosh, I get very embarrassed. You guys aren't embarrassed. That's a good sign.
Well, nursing 101 is eliminate modesty.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So I've got a good team here. All right, so stamp the earth. We're going to change a little bit because we're on concrete. Now, if we were out somewhere soft, not taught in the yard, there was nice soft grass, if you're on sand, if you're on deep carpet, what we're going to do is breathe in reasonably quickly, rise above the balls of our toes, and then bounce down with a great big explosive breath as hard as you can. Force your diaphragm up as hard as you can and just dump your lungs out. Now, because we're on concrete, we won't do what the ordinary posture is, which is to land. You probably felt that back there. I felt it in my back for certain. We don't do that in here. What we're going to do is come up and bounce. Let your knees take that impact. Yeah, don't lock your knees. We would, like I say, if we were somewhere soft, if we had concrete, or if we had like carpet, real thick carpeting, or if we're in the grass, then by all means lock your knees, and that jar is like, ooh, like a dash of cold water. But because we're in here, like I said, we're going to bounce through our knees. Take that impact off your spine, off your knees, and off everything else. So the important thing here, like Quan Ti, is we are dumping that breath out. This time, though, it's an entire lungful. So it's going to sound a little strange. When you land, it'll be as hard as you can. Make that diaphragm work. You know the importance of that. You both, I guarantee, know what an incentive spirometer is. All right. You know this helps you prevent having to use one of those things. Make that diaphragm work as hard as you can. Force it out. Dump it out. And we'll breathe in again and keep going. So let's give it a shot. And again, I'm going to kind of tuck down when I breathe out just to prevent nastiness in the air. All right, shoulder width stance, out comfortably. Now, because we are a little physical, done little physical things, and because we're on a very small balance point, you will lose your balance. It's going to happen. It just does. It helps some people to pick a horizon that's up a bit to focus on, like that line back there, like the cornice back there. It doesn't help me, it helps some people, but if you find yourself getting off balance, just watch the horizon up there. If you do get off balance, no big deal, just catch yourself, catch the next one. No one's going to point and laugh. I still get off balance sometimes, so don't let balance issues bother you, okay? Hands behind your back, comfortably. Now, this is a short distance, so our breath here is a little faster, but you do want a full lungful. So, we're going to breathe in and out. I'm sorry, Joan, I got it completely off balance. I know you're waiting for it. Breathe in. It's tough. It's okay. Breathe in. There you go. Breathe in. Oh, I'm off balance today. What's wrong? In. In. Two more. Breathe in. Last one. Breathe in. All right. Enough falling over. Hands relaxed. Back to our center. One more sound. And that's it. That's all there is to it. 8 postures, 8 times each. Simple breathing, simple movement. One of the, I wish she were still here. When I years ago, when I first started here, it's been almost 4 years now. A lady brought her little girl. I think she might have been 6 or 7. And we finished up. We were talking to Mom. And I said, well, how do you feel? She said, I feel all bendy. And that has stuck with me. I feel all bendy. And she did a little wiggle. I'm like, that is exactly what you want. That nice, soft, limber, that's it, Patty. Do the twist. That nice, soft, limber feeling all over. This you won't feel like you do in your body, of course. Your mind is a whole different organ. It's a whole different, it's not a muscle per se, but you are going to practice that breathing and that focusing and improve it in the same way you do a bicep or a tricep or a quadricep. Practice and practice and practice builds on what you've done today. It builds lung capacity, builds diaphragm strength, builds leg strength, builds flexibility, limbers up old muscles, does all these wonderful things. But this is the main focus, the mind. The body is entirely secondary. That's a benefit. It's a fringe benefit. What you've done today is build some energy, a little flexibility, a little bendiness, and a little bit of focus. You're taking the first step in building that focus. Now the trick is to do it often. Just like anything. If it's something you enjoy, come back every Saturday, you do it on the weekdays. It's not difficult. Now, when John is slow as he is, it may take an hour or so, but that's good. That's a good thing. It really is. I tend to have to kind of move fast to condense this into class, and I've gotten in the habit of doing class in about 30, 35 minutes. Not the best speed. I could go a little slower, certainly. But as long as you're moving mindfully and not in a rush, you don't want to hurry through it. It shouldn't be a ordeal. It shouldn't be a burden. You should be able to enjoy it, be able to laugh at yourself, be able to smile, a little companionship, and it should be a pleasure to do. Because you're honing this, and how do you beat that? You're improving your lung capacity, you're lowering your blood pressure. Everyone has blood pressure problems. You're helping your spine. Everyone has spinal problems. Lower back pain is like the #1 issue in America with people because we don't sit right, we don't move enough. And you're just helping yourself in little ways. And be proud of that. Be proud of coming back month after month after year and building on that. Yes, you, Patty. All right. I'm going to wrap up this video. We are going to be back every Saturday, as always, at the Alexandria Museum of Art. If you don't know we have a museum, you are doing yourself a grave disservice. Bless you. The museum is at 2nd and Murray Street downtown. It is worth fighting the traffic and the one-way streets to come down here and see this beautiful place. Thanks, of course, to the museum for having us here every Saturday and for the grant that brings me here and letting me do the videos and so forth. For those of you who don't feel safe getting out yet, I fully understand. It's no problem. We will continue this class indefinitely. I'm going to be here every chance I get, so don't worry about that. And if you're a beginner, wonderful. We're not going to laugh. We're not going to point and joke at you. We enjoy beginners. Having a beginner here brings me back to my beginnings and makes me think about my foundation and giving my new students a good start in this. It's important. It's important to me, and I think it's worth sharing for you. So, thank you for joining me, both in person and, of course, in the video. We'll resume next Saturday. Thanks to the museum again. And until then, my friends, please stay safe and be well.